My goal this year is to record a folk EP, but so far I have saved this much money. This presents a slight problem. How to make an extra $3,000 before March. How to make lots of money really fast. You can make a lot of money quickly by robbing a bank, joining OnlyFans, or engaging in other nefarious doings. If you are an artist, however, I'm sorry, but you are shit out of luck. Yes, well, not ideal. Oh, the Fringe Festival. Now there's an idea. Can I use my art to help me make enough money to fund my music recording? Now, if you've never heard of Fringe Festivals before, they are alternative arts festivals that run all over the world at different times, and basically any artists can sign up to do a show. And now the Perth Fringe Festival, held in my hometown here in Perth, Western Australia, is now the third largest fringe festival in the world, behind the Edinburgh Fringe Festival in Scotland and the Adelaide Fringe Festival, which is in South Australia. So all you have to do as an artist is to pay your registration fee to be part of the festival, and then you're responsible for finding your venue and selling tickets to your show. But people will go to the Fringe website and browse just to see what's on. And so the advertising that you get from being part of the festival more than makes up for the registration fee that you pay. So usually I do a music show, but this year I had the genius idea of doing an art workshop. And the reason it's genius is because instead of having to split the profits amongst all the band members, I can run the art workshops by myself, and then I get to keep all of the profits for me. And this is how I intend to fund my music recording and get my EP done this year. And so Burton and Bubbles was born. Create your own Tim Burton inspired gothic character, a sip and sketch masterclass with me, Nicola Milan from Thelonious Creature, which is my art brand. This is so up my alley as well, because, you know, drawing quirky gothic creatures and characters is my style, and it's quirky enough for the alternative audience for Fringe. So like any typical artist, I just threw myself into this without really giving it much thought as to what would be involved and what the costs would be. But now that I have officially done it, these workshops, I can break it all down for you. So I landed at having 30 people come to each show, and I made the ticket prices $89. All I did was think about how many people I could kind of squeeze into the venue and what would make a really good art class size, and I didn't really work backwards from all the costs. I had the Fringe Festival fee, which was $210, and this is for up to 3 repeats of the same show, so that's why I booked 3 shows. I had $6.50 ticketing fee, and Fringe takes this per ticket, which I actually think is quite a lot, you know. And then I had $167 that I spent on advertising. So this was posters, flyers, and like a banner ad on the Fringe website. Then the venues take a cut for letting you hold the event in their place. And they also charged me for the drinks because I was doing a sip and sketch event, so everyone gets a drink as they enter, right? So venue 1 charged me a $500 flat fee up front and $10 per drink. Venue 2 charged me 30% deposit. I don't know what that was about. It was kind of weird, like just extra cash they charged. But then they also charged 30% of all sales and $10 for drinks. So that was probably the most expensive venue out of the 3. And then the last venue was new to Fringe, so they didn't charge me any higher fees, which was awesome, but their drinks were $13. Then art supplies, and this is pretty much where I went wrong. Do you know how expensive pastel pencils are? They are like $4.75 a pencil. And if you're thinking about, like, I was giving students a black pencil and a white pencil, so that's like, and there's 30 students in the class, that's like 60 pencils. 60 pencils. Luckily for me, I actually found an art supply shop online which charged $3.50 per pencil if you bought them in bulk, but 60 pencils, there's still over $200 I spent in pencils. And then there was like the sketching paper, so I ended up just using like copy paper because it doesn't really matter what they sketch on. But then there was also tracing paper as well, the erasers and sharpeners, all of the sketching pencils as well, Q-tips for blending, blades for boing, cutting the pastel pencils and sharpening, and then that's why I need to get the sandpaper blocks for sandpapering them down. I end up spending $209 on pastel pencils alone, $20 on transfer paper, $30 on bougie pastel matte paper, over $100 on sketching pencils, erasers, sharpeners, sanding blocks, sketching paper and all the rest of it. And it ended up coming to around about $366.20 for art supplies. Suddenly, like my bougie, like $89 ticket price didn't seem as bougie anymore. Oh yes, my harebrained artistic friend, do not despair. It actually all worked out quite well in the end. Fortunately, without much in the way of ad spend, the tickets just sold. Everyone really enjoyed the art workshop, and I actually really enjoyed teaching them. And I was so impressed by the level of creativity and imagination that all my students showed. And the venues were happy because they sold enough tickets and they got their cut. I was happy because I got my cut. The students were happy because they had a really good time. And the end result was not only me making enough money to cover my EP recording, but also I made merch sales, people signed up to my Thelonious Creature email list, and they followed me on social media as well. So in a nutshell, I would say that art workshops really pay off, and here are the final numbers. So with all my ticket sales, I ended up making gross $4,191.25. And then after all of my expenses, the costs, the venue cuts and the drinks, I took home $3,471.07. Hello, EP. And then I did my tax, and I ended up having to pay the government like $1,500 because I'm self-employed. So, you know, you pay them at the end of the tax year, and like, it's like, you wankers, you've just taken half. But the moral of the story is that, you know, that money still had to come from somewhere, and now instead of it having to come out of like nowhere, I've still got the art sales to pay tax, and I've still got half of my EP savings ready to go. I foresee that my future cycle will look like this. Do art workshop, make money to fund music, which does not make money, and repeat. Yeah, but this is the life of a creative, right? And I hope you enjoyed this video and you got something out of it. Hit me up with any questions that you have about art workshops, and I will do my best to answer them in the comments below. I will also leave a link to where you can get all my resources for those, you know, $3.50 in bulk pastel pencils and things like that. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.